Yes, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It's the collective where we get to talk about all the things that happened that were good this weekend. And I'm looking around the panel and I'm asking, did any of our teams manage to win a game this weekend? Charlie, how are you? Did your team win this weekend?
No, but we didn't lose. So I suppose that's a slight bonus, yeah. Although it feels like we lost, but we didn't lose. So I guess maybe that's the only positive from the weekend.
That's a positive spin on drawing with Ipswich at home. I like that. Very good, Charlie. Mikes, how did West Ham get on this weekend?
Performed well and then lost. Like it's just very typical West Ham. Equalise and then bottle it straight after that. Very typical West Ham, to be honest. So lost again.
Yeah, I thought you actually played well. But we'll come to it. And Anne, the title race isn't going so well for you lot, and suddenly Champions League football is in the balance, and it's all happening, isn't it? It's all happening.
Yeah, it is. It's the first time in a long time I've gone on a stream where I've been disappointed with my team and their efforts and performance. Because what happened on Saturday, personally, I'm kind of thinking it's nerves. I'm kind of thinking it's my first. I hate this word bottle that everybody uses now. But my first words after that final whistle went was, that was a bottle job.
Yeah,
that was a bottle job. And it was. Not one single player, except for maybe Matt Sells, the goalkeeper, not one single, and he didn't have anything to do, came out there with any sort of holding his head high. It was a shocking performance from, I would say, front to back, but it's from back to back, because we never even bothered trying to do anything going forward. We were playing against Everton, who are, let's face it, Everton are not a bad side these days, and they've got a lot of good results. They only lost 1 out of the last 10 or something like that.
Yeah,
they were excellent, but that's no excuse.
They've lost 1 in 12.
Yeah. So they're no mugs. I fancy him at Chelsea next week, Charlie.
Deflecting. I love this. Well, look, shall we let's start with this top 4 race, shall we? Because unfortunately, Mike's, our teams haven't really got anything that we can really crow about. I mean, I don't think either of our teams can even finish top half. So let's start with the top 4 race. Guys, it seemed a while back that 3 were nailed on. It seemed that Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest were nailed on. Yeah. And then it's kind of been Chelsea, City, Newcastle-ish for a while. Forest, two defeats in a row, 6 games left. And as I said to you before the stream, man, I used to say to you and Wolfie, 7th. You're going to finish 7th. And then I actually said in stream 2 weeks ago, I was wrong. I hold my hands up. You're only 3 points above 7th. It's very, very tight in there between all of you. I'll bring the table up so that everyone can see. If you look there, it's very, very tight. Let's assume, I think Arsenal have definitely got it. But then Nottingham Forest 57 down to Villa in 7th on 54. I think that would probably be the cutoff, unless anyone thinks that Fulham and Brighton have got a chance. No. And it's getting a little bit twitchy. It's very tight, right?
Yeah, yesterday's match was massive. I know we say that about every match at this stage of the season, but I certainly felt, and most Forest fans I spoke to felt, that had we won yesterday, that pretty much would have been it. Do you know what I mean? Because there's 6 games left. We've got Leicester at home. No disrespect to Mike, but we've got West Ham. We've got Brentford at home, although Brentford are okay away. But, at home, generally, we're very, very good. We've got Chelsea at home, I'd expect. But now, all of a sudden, every one of those games is looking tough. I mean, we've got Tottenham away. Last week, mate, or the week before, that was 3 points for us. No problem. Now, I know Tottenham had an awful... I know Tottenham had an awful result.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. We're awful.
Obviously, my level of confidence has dipped significantly. I was never quite on the same plane of existence as Wolfie, but of course. Nevertheless, I was feeling confident that we could do it. 2 losses on the trot, obviously, it's going to dent that. Of course it is. But we've got Tottenham away, we've got Brentford at home, we've got Leicester at home. We have got games that we should, if we can bounce back, which we've been very, very good at bouncing back this season. very good. But
Yeah.
they weren't at the end of the season. They weren't at this crunch time where pressure and nerves are mounting. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. The mounting.
Do you know what? Look, Charlie, let me come to you. And I think this is one of the things that we all, I mean, what Ant said was absolutely true there. I mean, Wolfie has single-handedly made everybody in the country hate Nottingham Forest when no one's got any reason to hate Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, can I just say, sorry, Savva, can I just say something quickly there? Because I was thinking about this yesterday. I mean, Wolfie, I love Wolfie. He's my best mate, right?
Me too.
I fucking love the guy, right? But he does say some things that puts the rest of us in the doo-doo, as it were.
Yeah,
and I thought, had Wolfie not single-handedly gone out to mug everybody off, I think everybody in the country would be praying for Forest to win this. Because why would you want any of the establishment to do it? No, you want, but
do you know what? If there was a level of decorum, if there was some humble, like if there was a bit of a humble nature to it, I think everyone would be like, isn't this brilliant watching Forest doing what they're doing? But it's it's when he comes on here and we're bigger than your club. And I'm like, all right, hang on, mate. For 25 years, you've been like in the championship, oh, we're in a title race when you never were. And we're going to finish above Arsenal. But funny things. But Charlie, look, your team, you're right in there for the mix, but you've had a terrible result this weekend as well. It feels like the two that were in pole position, which were Chelsea and Forest, are dipping at the wrong moment. Now, we spoke earlier, and your dip's been going on quite a while, and you said about 3 weeks ago you couldn't actually believe you were still in the top four. You're no longer in the top four. Villa and Newcastle are breathing down everyone's necks. Newcastle have a game in hand. It's the only thing we've got to look forward to, Charlie. The top four battle this season. It's the only thing.
Yeah, well, it's the only thing that's keeping the season alive because the title's been done for the longest time possible. Relegation's been done for the longest time possible. And look, obviously the teams that Liverpool obviously deserve credit. They're going to win the league. Fair play to them. But in terms of an overall quality of a season, I just think the Premier League's been going downhill for a number of years now. Everyone talks about, oh my God, the Premier League's amazing, this and that. But I think that's coming from a point of view where no one else watches other leagues. I think the quality in the Premier League has been diminishing massively diminishing. Year on year, it's been going down. And when you're bored at home and you see Sky Sports Premier League years come on, you watch that and you're thinking, the players aren't as good as what they used to be. The matches aren't as entertaining as they used to be. And do you know what it is, though, Savva? It's it's this robotic coaching that's come in where players are zapped of all creative freedom. And if they take one centimetre either side of a position they've been told to play in a system, they're scared of their lives, and this is what's causing, I think, the decline in the quality, Savva, is that players are having their freedom taken away from them. They're having the freedom taken away from them. And I think you see it with a lot of teams, even for us this season. People talk about Cole Palmer. Look, for me, Palmer was never going to be as good as he was last season. To post those numbers on a consistent basis is very, very difficult to do. He's still got 21 GNA this season, which is not bad. But last season, he was playing with a lot more freedom. He was just given a free roll under Poch, and it was kind of like pass to Palmer and vibes. Now he's in a more rigid system, and he's not quite doing as well. And I'm not saying Maresca's coached the freedom out of him, but sometimes you just got to, regardless of your system, you have to let your best player give him a free roll. Let him do what he's going to do. Do you know what? You can have one of those that doesn't defend or doesn't track back if they can produce something special and win you games, which he does. But when you,
Charlie, we've got that with James Maddison. To obviously, listen, we're not going to have a Maddison Palmer debate, but we've got one of the best creative number 10s in the country. If you look at the number of goals and assists he's had in the Premier League in his career, and he's having to track back to collect the ball from the centre halves every game. I don't want him there. I want him getting it 30, 40 yards from goal, looking up, and I want him seeing two wingers running for him. I want Solanke to be in the box. Every time he gets the ball, he looks up, he's got players, everyone's just 5 yards away from him. And same with Palmer. When I watch Chelsea, it's like everybody's on top of each other. There's no freedom. There's no room. There's no space. I blame Wolfie.
Yeah, but it is a problem, isn't it? But in terms of the top four, so top five, obviously now, I mean, the fact that we're still there, we're a point outside the Champions League places, and we've taken 16 points from the last 20 games.
Yeah.
And we're still in the mix. And it just goes to show we've been awful. And despite Newcastle, City, Villa and stuff, playing reasonably well in the last few weeks, the reality is that the fact that we're still in touch with those teams goes to show how poor they've been this season as well in terms of lack of consistency. Because if you take 16 points from 20 games, you should be nowhere near the conversation for the top four. All those teams that are competing have been lacking consistency all season. If someone had just put together 3, 4, or 5 wins on the spin, they'd be third now. Let's be honest, they would be third. If someone would put 4 or 5 wins together over the last 6 or 7 weeks, they'd be in third place.
Well, mid-season, we did 7 in a row, and I think that 7 in a row has kind of kept us up there. All we've had to do since then is like match other inconsistent teams, as it were.
But that's the thing.
I will say something, though. I agree 100%. In my opinion, and obviously I'm an older guy, so people will accuse me of, looking back with those tinted glasses.
30 isn't old.
Today,
30 isn't old.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. The football today, in my opinion, is nowhere near as exciting as it was in the 80s, 90s, 2000. Nowhere near as exciting. But I will say this also, as regards other leagues. I'm speaking from a position of ignorance now. I think we've established that, right?
I'm ready.
We've got 2 teams in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We've got 2 teams in the quarterfinals of the UEFA Cup, and we've got Chelsea who are going to win the Conference League. So we're not doing bad for a poor league.
No, we're not. But I mean, look, let's see as we get to the semis and finals of those competitions, if we've got people there. But look,
talking about Arsenal, Savva.
Huh?
We're talking about Arsenal. See how they go.
No, listen. Listen. I said this last week. I think I was one of the few people that said I don't think that this whole Real Madrid will smash Arsenal thing is true. I watch a lot of La Liga, and Real Madrid have been really poor this year. If you actually watch them in games, this is not the Real Madrid that is smashing teams. Barcelona, on the other hand, will wipe the floor with Arsenal. Real Madrid won't. But look, Mike, let me bring you into this. Because I think you're a bit younger, and that's me being polite because, I'm not being rude. You just are younger than us, I think. Definitely. Big up, Wolfie. It does feel like Charlie hit the nail on the head. When you watch the Premier League years and you see all these great players that played and the skills and the ferocity of the games, when you watch Premier League games now, they all feel very much like games of chess. It all feels like there's no real end-to-end flow. It just feels very much like we'll have loads of possession, you have loads of possession. It's all a bit, I don't know, dare I say it, boring? Is the league becoming boring?
It's terrible.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is boring. Like, I feel like it's boring because I'm watching every single team be micromanaged into trying to create something. I feel like even in my era growing up, like late 2000s, early 2010s of football, there were still individuals like that you can say will take the game by the scruff of the neck. Like Man City had a Silva, Yaya Toure, Chelsea had a Hazard, etc. Like there were so many like in the 2010s and 2000s that you say they can take the game by the scruff of the neck on their own, and they've become mad. The match were just in a couple moments because they've scored a brace right at the end to bring their team back or whatever. Whereas now you're kind of seeing players go into hiding and then pop up with a goal maybe last minute, and then we could say they've had a massively like great performance and they get propelled as world class, etc. Performing in a moment rather than consistently 90 minutes turning up for their club. And I feel like when we're watching games as well.
You mentioned some great names there, like the likes of, I mean, we could go back decades, but if we look at more recently, players like even De Bruyne now coming to the end.
Silva, he's a maverick.
People like David Silva, people like Robert Perez, people like Hazard.
There's none.
Are there any Mikes?
There's none, especially in the Premier League. Like I was thinking about this, like the other day, I was talking on my channel, looking like, would we pay to watch any of these individuals? Like, you could say that in the previous times you would pay to watch certain players. There's no one in the Premier League now where I'm like, I'd pay to watch you. Like, there's no one.
You can't not say Mohamed Salah, like
who's actually enjoyable?
Is Salah a maverick though? Like Salah's output is phenomenal. There's no doubt in it. I don't ever watch him and go, wow. I like
I wouldn't pay
when I
to
watch
watch him.
Hazard play, when I watch Giggs play, when I watch Ginola play, I was like, they got me off my seat. Salah's lethal, but I don't know. Is he, Wolfie? Is he a maverick?
I wouldn't say he is. No, not for me.
That's what you're defining a maverick as. I'm saying, is he going to get bums on seats? Yes. And I'll tell you why, because I do agree with you. Maybe I look back at it nostalgically, but in our era, Savva, like there was plenty. Like Ginola, I'd watch Spurs just for Ginola. You know, players like that. Even Kinkladze. Do you remember him at Man City? Loved watching Kinkladze. You know, players like that. Now you look at but you look at Mohamed Salah, and he's a cut above what everyone else is doing. So you can define him through that as, you know, is he a maverick? No, you know, it depends on what your definition is of a maverick. But he stands out in this league.
You're right. He does stand out. Yeah.
He's going to get bums on the seats, but he's going to get people to stand up whilst
Ronaldinho
watching
get
the
into
game
a
as well.
top 6 side? I mean, that's the question, because he was magnificent, but he was a maverick. Do you know what I mean?
But I look at it now, right? And this might just be me, and people might have a different opinion, which is fine. I think of the players in the Premier League, and I'm struggling to think of maybe more than one or two at a push that I would say I actually would like to watch them play. I'd look forward to seeing them play. That in itself is a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, are you looking at it in isolation of this year? Because last year you would have said you enjoyed seeing Palmer play, for example.
Yeah.
Man City fans would have said Foden. I look at Omar Marmoush now at City, and I think there's potential in him. There are these pockets of players, but you are looking at it in the isolation, I think, of this season, because Foden's fallen off a cliff. Palmer's dried up. So you can't really answer this question until they've finished. Do you know what I mean? Like, was Palmer's season last season a one-off, or is he just having an off season this season? You know, questions are starting to be asked.
I mean, 21 GNA, if that's an off season, that's not bad, that is it?
Yeah, but okay, but that goes to the point that he still is an attraction, isn't he?
Yes.
Like young kids, and you got to look at it from the perspective of young kids. When I'm growing up, I'm looking at Brian Roy, and I'm looking at Stan Collymore. I'm looking at, you know, Stuart Pearce. Those kind of players is what excited me and really got me fully into, say, watching Forest.
Yeah.
But then me and Ant went through a period where we saw dross. Like the best I saw was the likes of Andy Reid, McGugan, you know, those kind of players. The list is very slim. I got excited by David Johnson. You know, he was scoring. Marlon Harewood, those kind of players. It's about where you are and what lens you're looking through for me.
I don't disagree. I mean, I look at, you know, when I was, you know, I had a season ticket for 20, 25 years. And during that time, I saw some good Spurs teams, some really crap ones. But when Ginola was there, we were finishing like 11th, 14th. But I couldn't wait to get to the stadium to watch Ginola. Like it was, I'm about to watch a great. I'm about to watch someone do something that I can't see in the Championship or League One. Now, a lot of the football I watch, they do it to a high standard, but it's just a lot of sideways passing. It's a lot of inverting, and it's like I want to see in this day and age when we're paying more than ever to watch games, whether it's live, whether it's through apps, whether it's Sky Sports, TNT, Amazon. I want to watch some Mavericks, and that's why when you watch PSG, watch Barcelona, and you're watching people like Kvaratskhelia, right? You're watching people like Barcola, Doué, Yamal, Rafinha. These boys are out there entertaining.
What happened to wingers taking on fullbacks, for God's sake?
Yes, that's what I mean. You watch PSG, they're wingers. You go, yes, old school. You're running at people. You come to the Premier League. Who in the Premier League has actually got wingers that out and out go, you know what, we're getting this. We're going on the outside.
No, because
not even us. We do play with two proper wingers, but Hudson-Odoi consistently cuts inside. And Elanga is 50-50 whether he'll go to the byline or not. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But by the way, Di Canio, Chief Maverick, Di Canio.
Who's got skill in the Premier League? I mean, I'm talking about like when you had the likes of, like you said there, Wolfie, like a player like Georgie Kinkladze. Imagine him now in the Premier League.
Even a
Juninho.
One of the best.
Zola,
Juninho.
Yeah.
You look at people like JJ Okocha. He was at
Yes.
Bolton, balling out. People were calling Bolton a long ball team, and JJ Okocha's in there juggling the ball with his head, and like, it's gone, isn't it? People say it's nostalgia. I don't think it is. I just think
Tino Espria. He was another one.
I'll go far to say there's not even a player like Payet. When I was watching this, not even a player like Dimitri Payet. Like when I was going to watch West Ham in that season, we're just looking forward to watch Dimitri Payet at that point. It was good that season, but it's essentially Payet's game most games. Like that's the last time I can think of. Like
let's bring this back then. If we look, Mike's then, if we look, guys, at that top 4 race, and if we look at the the title race has been done forever, the relegation's been done forever. Is it because we're lacking maverick players? Is it because you used to have back in the day, teams would have one player that would be brilliant for 5, 6, 7 games, and that team would win 5, 6, 7 in a row? Now I feel like everyone just cancels everyone else out because they're all playing. Realistically, everyone's doing the same. They're either a pass the ball to death, like Spurs, like pass. Let's have 60% possession and do nothing with it. Or it's like Forest, you guys are quite different, but you are brilliant on the transition. So no one, do you know what I mean, though? No one's actually an attacking team anymore. No one's attacking. Does that make sense?
I think a lot of teams now a lot of managers are setting up not to lose rather than setting up to win. The first thought is for a lot of teams is rather than let's win this game, the first thought is let's not lose. And that's
bang on.
And that's the problem, is that too many teams are playing well within themselves. And they might, if they're 0-0 at 80 minutes, they might have a go for the last 10. So you're losing the excitement in games or the openness and the end-to-end of games, because nowadays you're getting 2 teams that come up against each other, particularly in the bigger games where both sides are scared to lose. So they're not going to go for it. And it just ends up in a turgid affair where it's a load of possession, backwards, sideways passing, very little penetration, very little intent from either side. And it's terrible to watch.
Well,
the best
I'm sure you guys are aware. I'm sure you guys are aware of our play style, and we've taken advantage of exactly that. Other teams not getting to the byline, not wingers not taking on fullbacks. We know if we sit there, they'll pass. They'll have 60-70% of possession, and we'll score 4 goals. You know what I mean? That's what we've done. We've looked at what everybody else is doing, and thought, well, it's easy. It's easy to defend against that, and it has been.
But what Charlie said is bang on, and I'll give you the prime example. Nuno, before our match against Everton, did an interview with Bean, and his words were, the most important thing is a clean sheet. That's his philosophy and his priority. Now, I get what he's saying. I don't fully agree, because I'd happily win every game 2-1 and draw it 0-0, if you know what I mean. So, like, I get what he's saying, though, but it's that foundation that they're basing their philosophies on. In Nuno's case, it's defense. In other cases, with Pep style or the people that are copycat Pep, it's about possession, because the philosophy is if you have the ball, you're not going to concede a goal. It's not if you have the ball, you're going to create chances. I'm not talking about Pep. I'm talking about the rest. It's you're not going to concede because you have the ball. So there is this negative mindset in football right now.
Do you know the funny thing is, Wolfie, right, is I've seen people in the chat now are saying, oh, Pep ruined football. I think what people fail to understand here is if you actually look at the way Pep's teams played, forget this year. This year is an anomaly. If you look at the way Pep's teams have played, his Barca team, his Bayern team, his best Man City teams, they passed, but with pace. They kept the ball away from you with pace, creating the whole time. How many times City had 20, 25, 30 shots in a game? What it is, for me, you guys can disagree if you want, I think all these other managers are trying to adopt it, but without the technical players that can actually execute it to the way that Pep coached it, if that makes sense. So what you've got now, you've got lots of people going, oh, we play tiki-taka. No, you don't. You like Spurs fans say to me, oh, Savva, we dominated today. We had 65% of the ball. Yeah, but we lost 3-0. Like, I don't, do you know what I mean? Like, but we've just been beaten. Like yesterday, Ange thought we played quite well and controlled the game.
4 goals in.
4-2. We let in 4 goals, Ange. Why? And everyone's buying into this now that it's Pep's fault. Pep's fault.
My favorite stat from this season, and I've said it on here before, so bear with me, is that against Brighton we had 36% possession and won 7-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is about what the end goal is. This is the key thing. Like, if you look at our team, I know me and Ant in agreement. As long as we're winning, I don't really care if we're playing low block, mid block, whatever. If we're getting results, you're bringing me Champions League, I don't care. As you wouldn't have cared when you won the league under, say, Mourinho, for example. Where it starts to, I think, West Ham, and you'll be able to speak better on this than I can, it's interesting to see what's developing in their fan base now. You had Moyes, who was a defensive manager, who brought them their first European trophy, or for a long time, who they hated the style of his play and his football, but are now sitting 17th in the league under Potter and just having, what was his face before that? I've gone blank on his name.
Lopetegui.
So, like, I reckon there would be a section of the West Ham fan base that now turn around and say, do you know what? Maybe I could have stomached a bit more of Moyes ball if it meant we were getting European football, European nights out, and what have you. And there will be the other section of the fan base.
Do you think there's a shelf life to, if like you said, if you play that style of football
and you're winning,
if you play that style of football and win a Conference League, win a Europa League, win an FA Cup, fans will go, "Oh, don't care how we played, we won." But the problem is, most of these teams that play that way don't win every season. They win every now and then, and it's the times in between where you're going, "Well, hang on, we're not winning."
It depends.
We're playing really crap football. What do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That was the problem last season as well, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, as much as we were 9th, people like to forget that a lot of the teams that were around us were also losing quite a lot of games. So that's the only reason why we stayed 9th for the whole second half of the season. We won 4 games from January to May and was getting battered by Arsenal, Chelsea, etc. Me personally, I wasn't asking for Moyes to go because of the football. I'm not one of these West Ham fans that's like, I need this a certain style of play and whatever. It's because when I see my team getting battered, I'm not going to be happy about it. That's why I was Lopetegui out, like literally like a few games in. So it's a bit different from my perspective. I feel like for me also, we're also with the whole managers replicating what Pep's trying to do. The problem is everyone's trying to go down this young manager route, where you pick up a lot of these managers that are managing that used to manage in academies or in youth systems that are trying to replicate what the first team's doing. So they gain their philosophy from managing in the youth team all the time in another club's youth team. They've gone to another club and tried to manage their senior team exactly like that. So when you said about managing like Pep, for example, or his style of play with less technical players, that's where it kind of comes from. Because a lot of these clubs are going down with these young manager routes. They're managing in previous academies and they're all trying to replicate what Pep's trying to do.
I also would add in, like, I don't think we as YouTubers are best placed to answer this question. And I'll tell you why. Like, before we did this whole, this game, if you like, you'd go from a week, say I'd watch Forest on the Saturday, maybe we had a midweek game in the Championship, maybe a weekend, you'd have a dosage of about 2, max 3 sessions of your club. Now you've got to watch Forest, you've got to talk about the post-match, you've got to watch the teams around you, you've got to watch this. It's 24/7. And I don't know if the chat will be able to relate with what I'm saying here, but I'm sure you guys will. And it's a case of it becomes too much football. Obviously, it's our choice. It's the world we've kind of walked into. But it's almost like you lose that excitement of, let's just say, I don't know, there's a London derby between Spurs and Arsenal. 5 years ago, would I have watched that if I was free on a Sunday? Yes, definitely. I'd be interested to see it. Now it's like, do I need to watch it or can I spend some time with the kids? Do you know what I mean? So it's like our position is very much saturated at the moment with football. Whereas when we were, quote unquote, normal fans, you go and game in, nothing until your next game. You don't need to break down and analyze everything that's happened in between and what have you. So maybe from our perspective, we see it slightly differently from, say, the viewers or just the one who
just on that as well. I think that translates onto the pitch as well. I think every aspect of football now is trying to be micromanaged to the nth degree.
Yes.
Like in terms of just like tactically, in terms of from a system base, in terms of what manager wants players to do. Every single movement of what players do is being micromanaged. That's not needed, and that for me is making the game and the product worse. What happened to just sending your players out onto the pitch, go and do your thing? Yes, have a style of play and an identity and a way that you want to play. But if you're losing as professional players on a pitch, you should be looking at, all right, this is a system, but we're losing now. Forget the system. We're going to go long. We're going to chuck a centre back up front, and we're going to do something different. Teams are scared to death of deviating away from the system because everything is micromanaged. And it's,
you know what, Charlie? Do you know the one time I've seen that this season was Forest against Man U, when they chucked Maguire up front,
and it caused problems.
Yeah, he was their best striker.
Yeah,
that's old school. You don't see that anymore. Now, obviously, I mock the Man U fans because we ended up winning. Yeah, but that's by and by. But that's an old school throwback to what managers used to do. It's like, okay, we're losing. There's 5 minutes left. Let's get the big man on, chuck him up, and see if he can cause some havoc.
How many teams play 4-4-2 now? No one plays 4-4-2. I'm not saying, let's bring back 4-4-2, but like...
Also, guys, though, don't forget that, say you're saying it's been micromanaged on the pitch. Charlie, remember the days where the game would finish and I'd say, Wolfie, how did Chris Wood play today? And he'd say, yeah, it was all right today. Or, yeah, grabbed 2 goals, right? Now it's not you, Wolf. I'm not saying you. Now everyone goes, yeah. He had 47 recovery runs. Yeah. He sprinted 7 times.
Yeah. And expected chances of 1.37. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'd like to think that I've seen enough football that if you ask me who played well yesterday, I don't need to go, hang on, let me look at my app and see. I can tell you I could tell you who was good and who wasn't. I could tell you who had a mare because you know what? Eyes. We've all got eyes. Now we've got people going, do you know one of the best players in the league is? It's this guy because in 17 of his 27 games, he had the most interceptions. Sure. Now tell me, when I'm just making this up, by the way, he intercepted it 27 times. What happened when he had that ball? How many times did he give it away from those 20? Like, everything is micro managed.
Savva, have you heard this new thing called field tilt? Like things.
Don't you dare!
I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. Did they is it on like stilts or something, and they just move the pitch up and down? Like seriously.
No, I do have disagreements with people in our chat on our channel because they'll quote stats at me, and Wolfie will tell you I will swear at them. I don't need you to effing tell me how many goals he won, this and other. Yeah. I was there. I saw it. I watched it. I know whether he played well or not. No stat is going to convince me that he played well if I saw him not playing well.
Stats are good. Don't get me wrong, to a degree.
They can back up, Charlie. They can back up sometimes. You can say he had a great game. Oh, look, he won that.
But where it falls down is, right, you can cherry pick any stat to suit the narrative you're trying to put across. And that's where it falls down. Stats should be there to back up a point and further reinforce a point. Stats shouldn't be forming the main point of your argument. And now that I think it's another problem with football as well, and why teams are struggling from a recruitment side of things is that everything is data. But the data doesn't give you the qualities that you need. Data doesn't give you leadership experience. Like that's not quantifiable. Winning is not quantifiable. There's a lot of things that data doesn't give you that is massively important in a player. And that's the problem when clubs are becoming far too obsessed with data rather than just using it as something to support a decision being made. The decision should never be made on the data.
Imagine, like it's when I don't need stats to tell you that Xavi and Iniesta, for example, were 2 of the greatest midfielders I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I have no idea what their I've no idea what their ball recoveries were. I have no idea. I didn't need it. I didn't need stats to tell me that Ronaldinho is the most skillful footballer I've ever seen play football. Like you just don't need it. And now we're basing everything off it. But anyway, look, let me ask you a question, guys. It wasn't a good week for all of our teams. I think we've established that. Whose was the worst result? Was it West Ham losing at Anfield? Was it Chelsea drawing at home when they're in a top 4 race to Ipswich? Was it Wolves, who could have consolidated that top 4 position, losing to Everton? I don't even.
Wolves.
Was Spurs? I mean, Spurs
Where you got Wolves
moving
from?
Wolves. I mean, is anyone?
Oh, you know, Forest. Sorry.
Yeah, the worst result is either Chelsea or Forest.
It's got to be
Chelsea.
Forest. We didn't even get a point, mate. It's got to be us.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
mean,
Chelsea.
we didn't lose. So, I mean, look, it was terrible, by the way, and not a good result at all. But I find it hard to say that drawing is a worse performance than losing. That'll be my only.
I'll tell you why I think it's worse, Charlie.
But it's the worst. It's a better result. Drawing is a better result than losing. That's a fact. You know what I mean?
You can see this to Ben Johnson. That's a bad result. You can see this to Ben Johnson, for God's sakes.
We did.
Yeah. For me, Chelsea's was the worst. And don't get me wrong, we stunk the house out, right? We were probably one of our worst performances of the season. The reason I think that's the worst result for Chelsea is because of your fixtures. That, for me, was your last one where you put it down as a tick next to Chelsea's name guaranteed. Do you know what I mean? Like the rest, you got Fulham away. Have you still got Newcastle, I think, Forest.
We've got Liverpool,
Man United, Liverpool.
Yeah.
You got a stinky run in, and you needed to bank those 2 extra points for me.
Agreed. Yeah,
I think we played worse than you did. We stunk the house out, and it wasn't good for us. But at least I can fall back on and say, well, I've already got 57 points on the board. You still need to catch up with us. I actually think you've knocked yourself out of this race technically. Obviously, you're still in it and anything can happen.
Mate, we were out in January. I said it as soon as the window closed.
You did,
worse. We were out. Look, technically, we're still there. Of course we are. But you look at our form and you look at the games we've got left. And I was going through our last 6 fixtures, right? I'm looking at it. I can only see us winning right now one of those games. And the only game I can see us winning is Everton at home. And even that's not a guarantee. I can't see us beating Fulham away. I can't see us winning at Newcastle away. Can't see us winning at Forest. Liverpool at home, the only hope is that the title's done by then and they're kind of feet up, relaxing sort of thing. No matter how dire Man United are as a team, our record against them is terrible in the Premier League. And so I'm looking at it, I'm just thinking that Everton game, Everton have massively improved under Moyes. I just think that Everton game is the only one I look at, and I think that's the one where I put down, I'd be penciling in a win. Other than that,
they've lost one of the last 12, Charlie.
Yeah,
I think that's one of your harder games, mate. And I think Everton have a say in this run because they've got Man City this weekend at Goodison.
I mean, the thing you don't want in a run-in, you do not want to be playing teams that have got something to play for. So whether that's going for Europe or whether that's trying to stay up. And we're playing teams that have got something to play for. And quite a lot of teams.
Yeah, for some reason, Charlie, Everton seemed to want to play for something. They wanted to play. Like I was talking with our Everton mates and we both agreed, and I said this to him. If you had never watched or didn't have a clue where anyone was in the Premier League, you'd have expected Forest to have been on the beach the way we played and Everton hunting down Champions League.
Absolutely.
And it's
just
crazy.
Last season that Goodison on a higher then. Is that it?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's
maybe.
The only reason I can think of it.
But I'll tell you what it is. Moyes, your boy Moyes, bro, he's done bits at that club. He's organised them up. Yeah, they would be.
Moyes is a good manager. He's just not fashionable with the style of football he plays.
Agreed.
But he's not a good
it's
manager.
because he's not a modern manager. That's the thing. Like, because he's a bit
like with Nuno, isn't it? It's like us with Nuno. You know,
it's because similar philosophy.
Nuno is a top manager because of the football we play.
Well, here's a stat for you while we're talking on stats. If the league started the day Moyes would walked in, Everton would be 6th in the league. So don't sleep on Everton is what I would say. They're very good. And they will suit playing against the Chelsea style. In my opinion,
Charlie, we're talking ourselves into it, mate.
I didn't realize Chelsea's run was that bad before yesterday.
Oh, it's terrible.
Horrific.
I was confused why Chelsea fans were like, "Oh, I'm writing off top 4." I was like, "Why?" And then they sent the fixtures. I was like, "Oh my days, that's a really bad end of the fixtures." Didn't that? Like, because top 4 races are usually inconsistent anyway. And like the teams that are battling for top 4, you see teams that are usually inconsistent, but it's so inconsistent now that there's so many teams competing with each other around like 3rd to 10th or whatever. It wasn't like a few weeks ago. But
I mean, it's basically now for 3 places, for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's between Forest, Newcastle, Villa, City, and Chelsea. You've got from those 5 teams, 3 of those 5 will play Champions League football. but it's impossible to tell which ones because now I think the gap that you boys have got.
I'm putting Newcastle. I think they're going to do it.
You're putting them in.
Yeah, I'm putting them in because I cannot see them finishing 6th. So I'm putting them in.
The only thing against Newcastle, and to be honest, the other 2 or 3 teams around us is you're all playing each other. We only play you on the final day of the season. Outside of that, we play bottom half teams. If you look at Newcastle, I'll just bring the fixtures up. They've got Villa. Well, they got Palace this week, midweek. Then they've got Villa. So someone's dropping points, or both are dropping points.
Is that game at Villa or at Newcastle?
It's at Villa. It's at Villa.
That's a massive game.
Huge game. They've got you still. They've got a tricky away one to Brighton as well. And then they've got Arsenal away as well. So I think the form team right now is Newcastle, but their fixtures are tough. And within those fixtures, they could be taking or giving points to the teams in and around them. So that's one thing. Man City have the same thing as well. I'll just bring their fixtures up.
I think, the thing with City is I think they've got the best running, but in the difficult games they do have, I think they play Villa and Bournemouth. I know Bournemouth has dropped off a little bit.
Yeah,
I think both those games are at home. I don't think they've got any tricky away games left.
I think we know where they are.
I mean, we talk about inconsistency. City, it's almost impossible. Before they scored the goal to come back from 2-0 down, when they went 3-0 down, if you remember, but it was offside. I was thinking, FA Cup semi-final, here we come, no problem.
Yeah.
And then they're going at 5. You know what I mean? So you just don't know what you're getting with them.
Yeah. The thing is, though, it's this week, it's these next 2 games. They've got Everton away and Villa at home. If they blow those 2, they could play themselves into trouble. If they win those 2, then City are locked on, and it becomes 1 out of 3.
Yeah, I think they get 4. If they get 4 points,
4 points, good return.
Yeah.
Is anyone giving Villa as a shout for top 4?
Yeah,
yes,
massively. Top 5, absolutely. Yeah, they're massively informed.
You know what Villa have got?
No.
Villa have got, I don't care what anyone says now in the league, the most options in terms of up front.
Yeah.
They can sub off Watkins, Bailey and Rashford for Asensio, Marlon, and I'm missing one.
I think they've got
Ramsey,
Rogers.
Rogers.
They've got options in midfield as well.
Yep, Banana,
but does he know what the strongest team is? Because he's chopped and changed that front 3 a lot. But let me run you through their fixtures. They've got Newcastle.
Does it matter? Because they're all scoring goals, aren't they? Marlon started scoring now. Rashford scoring. Asensio is. Watkins will score goals. Surely the whole point of them.
No, I'm not poo-pooing their squad. Their squad's fantastic. What I'm saying is their fixtures. Aston Villa have got Newcastle next. Yeah. Then Man City.
Here you go. Aston Villa have got. Let's forget Champions League. They've got Newcastle at home.
It's not up,
man. Both clubs. So they've got Newcastle at home.
Wait, are you sharing this? Sorry.
Oh, I can share it if you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can share it if you want. I was just doing it on the BBC fixture. So can you see that?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so you've got Aston Villa, Newcastle this weekend. That's a massive game for the top 4, isn't it?
Those next 2 are massive.
Huge. And then I think their next 3 are huge because Palace away is
that's FA Cup. Well. It's FA Cup.
It's FA Cup. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Fulham at home. Fulham are decent. I would expect them to beat Fulham.
Yeah, Villa.
Bournemouth away stuff.
And then Bournemouth away. And then they've got a gimme with Spurs.
But Bournemouth are done, aren't they? They've shot their bolt. They've shot their load.
They have, but it's still a difficult place to go.
I think the last
you're right,
they
especially
win.
for us. But yeah, you're right.
I think this last 3 here, guys, Bournemouth, Villa, and Man U. I think by the time they play Man United and Spurs, that will be the time whether one of those Man U and Spurs have either got nothing to play for or one of them is gearing up for a Europa League final.
So or both of them have nothing to play for.
Exactly.
Looking on the bright side.
Or nothing to play for. So I think Villa could do it, you know. Anyone else's you want to look at?
Yeah. I just, on the Villa thing, it's what happens in the next 2 weeks for them. This Newcastle Man City game is huge. And don't forget that then, even if they win those, they're taking points from Newcastle and Man City. All this does play into Forest's hand. Like as crappy as we're playing, this starts to play into our hands.
But it also plays into our hands slightly. We know we're playing terribly, but it plays into our hands as well. Because in the next 2 weeks, guaranteed, Villa, Newcastle, or Man City are dropping points.
Yeah. Because
what do you make of yours, guys? Because you've got Tottenham away.
Oh,
then you've got
Monday Night Football.
Forget Man City. Yeah. You've got Brentford, who have got the best away form in 2025, if I'm not wrong. I think they've everything they've done away has been
a difficult game, Brentford.
Yeah. But they had the best home record when they'd not lost and we went there and beat them. So
I'm just saying, Palace away.
No, you're right, Savva. No, you're right. It's not a good time to be playing them. Yeah,
Palace away is tough.
I'm kind of hoping it's all on this game at the end. I'm kind of hoping it's all on that.
It can't come to that.
Why?
Winner takes Champions League.
Because I don't think Chelsea will be in it at that stage.
No, I don't either.
I'm not trolling. I genuinely don't think Chelsea will be in it.
Well, I don't either. But like the season's been weird,
but it could. This is football.
Yeah. But for that to happen, Chelsea would have had to knock out one or two of the others because you've got Newcastle, haven't you, Charlie? And
for us to have a chance for us to say get to the last game of the season and say win and we get Champions League, that's going to require us to pick up. That's going to require us really to be winning away at Fulham and Newcastle, basically, to have any chance.
Is everyone putting City in it?
Yes, I'd pencil them in.
Right. Okay. So look, here's Man City's. So Manchester City have got. If you can see that,
Man City have got
what? Everton away.
Mm-hmm.
And Villa home.
Villa at home. Wolves at home. I'm ignoring the FA Cup. Wolves at home. Southampton away. But see, I think after that game, I think the last 4 for them are nice. I think Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, and Fulham. I think is I think it's nice for them. And even to be fair, I don't see City losing any of them. If I'm honest, I just don't see it.
Well, I'll spin this another way. For me, forget who's got who. It's the points tally. I think you need 65 to get in. Because normally it's 66 for top 4.
Yeah, I think it'll
you have to ask the question: who can get the X amount of points needed to get to that?
Are we completely discounting Fulham from Champions League?
If they win tonight, they're back in it. No, if they win tonight,
they've got a game in hand tonight.
Oh yeah, they win. So they win tonight, and with a game in hand, they're 3 points off.
They're just so inconsistent. They're so wishy-washy. It's crazy tight. So wishy-washy. Look at their form. They're so wishy-washy, just in general.
Yeah, I can't go for
so they're due a defeat, Mike's. Look, loss, win. They're due a defeat.
Keep the streak going.
But I'll tell you what, it's going to be really interesting because I think, doesn't European football this year go down to 8?
It could go down further.
Could be.
It could go down further.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It could be
go down to 11.
It's top 5, Europa, and then conference. So it's 7. But obviously, if you guys win, no, that's right, 7. It's only if Arsenal win, it will go down another. One.
No,
if Arsenal Villa win the Champions League, then
that's not quite right, Ange. That's not quite right. If Arsenal win the Champions League, that position doesn't change the top 5. No. If Villa win the Champions League and finish 6th, then 6 go into the Champions League. Yeah. If Man U or Spurs win the Europa, it'll be 7. As it stands now, if you assume the table is how it finishes, there'll be, and assume, say, Man City win the FA Cup, for example, then there'll be 2 Europa spots and 1 conference spot.
Yeah.
Maybe Spurs steal one of these Champions League spots by winning the Europa League, lads, and I'll be the one sitting here.
No. That would be an addition. That would be an addition, even if you did.
Oh yeah, so but nevertheless,
it's show next season, and I'm the only one sitting in the Champions League.
Newcastle, regardless of where Newcastle finished, they're getting Conference League anyway because they won the Carabao. I think Carabao was a Conference League spot.
Correct.
Yeah, Carabao's a conference playoff.
It goes down. It's going to go down another step, then, isn't it?
Because Newcastle guaranteed Conference League at least playoff from the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, but one thing is, if they finish in the top 5, that will take it that'll take the no, it won't.
No,
okay.
How stupid is it? Do you remember when Europe used to mean something? Now it's like half the table gets Europe. It's absolutely crazy.
Mate, in Ange's time, the winners were the only ones who went in the Champions League.
Yeah, it was the Champions League.
I mean, technically, that's what it should be because it's the Champions League. So it's the champions of all the leagues. So technically, it should just be the winner, shouldn't it? Really? But
when they changed it from the European Champions Cup to Champions League, they started letting these second, third. I was like, hang on a sec. What? No, but they're not champions. How can they be in it? They're not champions.
Let's. I just want to do some super chats, and I want to talk a little bit about. Hooks isn't here. I want to talk about Arsenal. Apparently, I think the kids call it giving them flowers these days, but I don't know what that means.
Yes, give them the flowers.
Big up to Vinny, who has said, posted this query in December to DR Sports on who will win the sack race between Ange and Maresca. Everyone dismissed it. Chelsea fans bought into this Maresca fraud, whereas some, like me, could see it fail. I mean, Vinny, at the moment, Chelsea could still get Champions League football and win a European trophy this season. There should be no debate about who's going to get sacked first between Maresca and Ange. The fact that Ange has not been sacked is he's got nudes. He's got nudes of Daniel Levy.
He'll be sacked. He'll be sacked when you go out on Thursday, surely.
Oh, knowing him.
Don't sack him. Players, please.
Yeah, look, everyone's like, don't sack him before you play us. We want to play Ange ball. Crypto, big up to you, my man, has said, big up Savva panel and my mate and hashtag Ange in. You can hashtag yourself out with that comment. Big up to you. You came back in and said, now I have to big up Wolfie too. Big up to you, Crypto. Thank you very much, mate. Vaneek came back in again and said, stick to your system, irrespective of the results, and you will be rewarded like company. Ange and Maresca are following the rule book. I'm not sure.
Basically saying at Burnley, he stuck to his book, got them relegated, and got promoted to play to manage Bayern.
But again, the only reason he got the Bayern job is because about 15 managers before him didn't want it. So he wasn't actually given the Bayern job because they wanted him. He was given it because they had to go through so many options on the list, and he was the first one that would take it.
The amount of pundits and ex-footballers in particular, and it amazes me, I can never get over it, who say, you've got to give this manager time. You've got to give this manager time. Yes, managers need a certain amount of time, but not forever. At some point,
we'll talk about this in a minute. We'll talk about that in a minute. I want to get your guys' takes on Spurs as well. Vineet has come in again. Vineet, you've got it in for a lot of people tonight. That's now Bellingham, Haaland, Maresca, Pep. We've got dull squibs like Bellingham and Haaland in Ballon d'Or talks, which explains where football is heading. What I will agree with you is Bellingham for me. Every game I watch Bellingham, I'm sorry, if the guy doesn't score a goal, I don't know what he's really doing, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Big up to you, Vineet. And then Craig Lee has come in at the end and said, who are your favourite teams to watch in the Premier League?
I don't enjoy watching anyone. No, none of them.
None at the moment, if I'm honest. Spurs.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys,
any big team that I think is going to lose is my favourite to watch.
Man U.
Man U, yeah.
Let me ask
Man
you guys. Listen, there's been a lot of banter about Ange and about Tottenham for a very, very long time now. Hopefully now you can all see what I've been trying to say for several months of doing this show. Can you guys believe just how bad Spurs are? Or am I over-egging it? Are we that bad?
Mate, I'm surprised that Spurs are that bad. I don't think Tottenham are amazing, and I didn't have them down for Champions League football this season at all. But to be 2 points above 17th, and to have lost how many games?
You lost, YouTube channel, you knob.
How many games you lost, Savva? 17 in the league, or was it 18?
Just the 17.
Hey, it's only 17. Don't you go into
he's lost 7. Look, Spurs aren't great, but they are much better than being 2 points off 17th. It's an absolute shambles.
Oh my days.
There you go. Look at that.
So you didn't like stats.
He's doing all right.
This is the
Oh, right.
definitive.
Right.
This is the definitive snap. This is an important one.
I just don't get what he's trying to do there.
He's doing
what
this.
Is he trying to do?
Tactics like that. Look, the one at the back.
What is that? What is that?
Oh my God. I saw something about that. He's lost the same amount of games as Poch in his whole reign at Tottenham.
Oh,
like just this season.
Hang on. You think I might have a picture for that? You mean this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I swear
amazing.
one of them seasons said Poch didn't sign anyone. Poch didn't sign anyone.
3 seasons. Poch lost 16 games across 3 seasons. This guy's rocked up in 32 games and gone, have that, 17.
How much do you guys actually pay this dude?
5 million a year.
Oh my God.
It's not. All right.
But why are they paying him 5? I know it's a stupid question, but why are they paying him 5 million a year? They could pay me $1 million a year and I'd do a better job.
Look, this is how we found ourselves.
Anybody would, is what I'm saying. Sorry, Savva.
This was against Frankfurt the other night. Look at this. The old 2-on-4. This is a regular thing at Spurs. Ready? This was the week before.
Where the fuck are the fullbacks?
Charlie might recognise this ground. Look, this was Spurs before. We've got Bergvall and Bentancur at centre half. Romero's at right back. Our right back, Jed Spence, is in central midfield. This is Ange ball, everyone. Good, isn't it?
I just don't get. I just don't understand what the plan is. What is the plan? Like, what do Tottenham do in training?
He doesn't take the training.
No, like genuinely, not even bantering. Like, what are they doing on the training ground on a daily basis?
Not defensive drills, that's for sure.
Yeah. Didn't Eric Dyer in an interview maybe last season or whatever when he left Tottenham said that Ange does no work on tactics?
Well,
Nothing.
you can see that, Charlie. Have a look at these. Have a look at these 4 screenshots, right, guys? So there's that picture again, but it was funny because someone put the map of Australia inside the gap. Right? Have a look at these 4 screenshots. So this is all from one game, right? This is all from yesterday, right? So you've got Wolves here. Have a look at this, right? This is for their 3rd goal. Have a look at Strand Larson, right? Why have Wolves? Who's marking him, right? And then further on in that move, there he is. Still no one marking him, and he tapped it home.
Is that Jed Spence not getting
Spence,
that?
I'm saying you're not selling Jed Spence to us, you know, on these shots.
But you know what? But Anne, it's not the play. Anne, Jed Spence.
No, it's not the player. No, I get that.
He's got the fullbacks in central midfield rather than at fullback. Have a look at this. We've got this. Look, this ball's coming to our box. Look at the centre forward there. No one's marking him. Right? Have a look at this one. I'm not making these up, guys. Look, there's 3 Wolves players in a box and only 1 Spurs player. This is in our penalty area.
How are they all unmarked?
It's the worst I've ever seen. He makes Ozzy Ardiles look like Pep Guardiola. That's how bad this manager is.
But the bottom line is, it doesn't matter. If you win the Europa League, it won't matter.
It will matter because you get
humiliated. What do you mean by that, Wolfie? Because I might agree with you on this. What do you mean?
As in, like, if he's won the trophy, he'll be lauded by the majority of the fan base.
There's a lot of reports saying even if he wins the Europa League, he's going.
I get that. I get that. Look, I'm not like backing up what he's done. Those pictures are quite comical. I'm just saying the ends don't justify the means kind of thing. If he gets that trophy, we can no longer say 2008 to you lot. You know, it's going to have to be 2025. And he gets it done. I'll remember that. I've noted it down just in case. Yeah, but do you get what I'm saying? It's like you're sleepwalking into being Manchester United under Ten Hag. That's what I'm seeing right now, where they win a trophy and it's like, okay, we won a trophy, it's fine. No, I'm talking about the narrative. I'm talking about the narrative. The narrative.
We've gone. I agree. Look, Wolfie, I agree with you on this. I know we don't always agree. So I completely agree with you. My worry is this, right? Is he can win this competition, right? Let me show you this, guys, right? This is what we've done so far. This is why a lot of fans say keep him because of Europa. Are you ready? This is what we've done in the Europa. I shit you not. I'm not lying. This is what we've done.
Ooh.
We have managed to beat Karabag, Ferencvaros and Alkmaar, Hoffenheim and Elfsborg.
How do you pronounce that second team?
Ferencváros.
Yeah.
I'm assuming where are they? Greek or something?
Turkish.
Hungarian.
They're
Hungarian.
They're
Hungarian.
Who am I thinking
If you
of?
look at this, there's three or
Fenerbahce.
four.
Yeah,
There's three or
Fenerbahce, you're
four
right.
decent teams in there. Galatasaray, Roma, Rangers, Frankfurt. Have a look. He's not managed to beat one of them.
Rangers aren't even good.
This is what is apparently going to make this man a legend at Spurs if he wins it. I don't care if he wins it. He's got
the person to ask is Mike, because Mike has experienced exactly this with David Moyes. Won the European competition, but the fans were very split over whether they wanted to keep him after that. Am I right, Mike?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, the split started like 6 months before. So it was around the time where he was finally backed with money. We'll see, like, what can you do with a better squad? By the way, people don't realize this. He wanted to change the style of play. So we bought possession-based players. And that's when we bought Scamacas and Paquetá. 6 months before we won the Conference League, the split started because we realized he couldn't coach that. So then we've bought all these players for nothing. And that's why the whole split started and our fan base went to war. And the problem is, we were then in limbo for the next season because he was on 1 year left. But we knew he was going because we know our owners like, we won't sack you and pay compensation. We're going to let you go on a free because we're doing this on a cheap and stuff. With Tottenham, if they, regardless of whether he wins the trophy, he needs to go. And if the reports are true, then cool. No, but like if you do it off sentiment where you keep him on an extra year, it's going to be even worse next year. The whole atmosphere is going to be even more toxic than it already is.
It was like when Di Matteo come in at Chelsea, right? And we won the Champions League and the FA Cup in 2012. He shouldn't have stayed as manager, right? Because he's not a good manager. However, because he done that, we had to keep him, and he was sacked like 3 or 4 months later. The one thing that Tottenham cannot do, and it's similar to what Man United did, is not take decisive action, not just keep someone in because they won a trophy. Because the worst thing they can do is, let's say you win the Europa League, Savva, you give him the summer, and then you start next season poorly and you sack him after 10 games. Not only have you wasted time where you could have had a pre-season with a new manager and getting the players a new manager wanted, you've got Ange's signings playing in a certain way, and you've got to bring a new manager in like United have done with Amorim, and it could be a shambles. If you're going to make the change in the summer and give the new guy the best chance.
I want to make the change now. Daniel Levy should have walked onto the pitch at Wolves and made the change after yesterday. Look, do you know what? Most of you will know, right, that the Premier League used to be 42 games before it moved to the 38-game model, right? If anyone remembers that. So since the Premier League moved to a 38-game model, which was in 95, 96, the most number of defeats we've had in a season was 18. And that was in 96, 97. We're currently on 17 defeats with Villa away.
Liverpool away. You've got Liverpool. You've got Anfield, haven't you?
We've got. Hang on, my screen's gone all. Can you guys? Is the screen all good for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we've got Villa away, Liverpool away, West Ham away. We've got Forest, Brighton, and Palace at home. If he loses one, with level. If he loses two, it's our worst ever from a 38-game season. It'll be 19
minimum.
And if he loses 3 of the next 6 games, that is our worst ever Premier League defeats return from a 38 or 42 game season.
I find it astonishing that these people that are in charge of these clubs that, you'd hope would know what they were doing. We'll look at a cup. I mean, let's take Man U last season. They won the FA Cup. How many games did they have to win that FA Cup? And I think they went through on penalties on one of them. So it wasn't like, 4 or 5 games, six games, whatever it is. So they ignore the 38 games where they were atrocious and take those 6 games where they managed to go through, maybe against lower league clubs. You know what I mean? They're not always top games. And it just seems ridiculous to base the future of your club on that. Rather than on the 38 league games.
And you're spot on there. Like it's nonsense when you hear reports of manager's got 3 games to save his job and stuff, or it's a game by game basis. It's like, guys, what the fuck are we doing here?
It makes no sense.
How are you basing? Oh, so the manager's been crap for 30 games, but if he wins 3, his job's suddenly safe now.
What's an own goal off somebody's backside? You know,
what are we doing here? Like,
surely the moment the fault that the fault is first there tells you what you need to do. If a chairman is thinking, when they go, you've had the vote of confidence.
Oh, it's done. It's done.
It's done, isn't it? It's a matter of time. You can win 3 in a row. The moment you lose the next one, sorry, mate.
Yeah. You know when a manager's done as well. As soon as the first reports start coming out, a manager's safe, or it's this and it's that. Whatever, he's done. We've all seen the reports. We've all seen managers come and go at our clubs. When certain reports start coming out, that manager's done.
Well, let's talk what we really need to know here, right? If you lose on Thursday, is he in the dugout against Forest? That's all I really care about.
He will be. He will be.
if he is, I don't know.
What's your gut saying, Savva? I'm interested to know, like, what you think. Forget your emotional attachment. Objectively, what do you think Levy does?
I think he's there. He'll be there Sunday
till the end of the season.
It's Monday. It's Monday.
Monday.
The problem with that is if it's the Daniel Levy we've all known for 25 years, Daniel Levy would have sacked this guy long before now. So something's going on, which I don't get. But if he loses Thursday, it doesn't go through, it will be 2 wins from our last 12 games. Out of Europe, 15th in the Premier League, 2 points off 17th. You've got nothing to play for in the league. You're not getting relegated. Sack him. And just let Ryan Mason take it for the last 6 Premier League games.
Can you afford to sack him? I know it might sound ridiculous. You can afford to sack him?
We've got money. We've got money. Well, if not, we'll just put on an extra date for the Beyonce concert.
I knew that was good. How many years have you got left on his contract? How much longer is he on the contract for?
I think it's 2. I think he's halfway through. I think it's 10 million to get rid of him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I excuse me. I just think the turnaround time is the only thing that makes me think even if you lose, like, it'll be Mason at best, won't it? If he goes,
I'll take it.
Yeah, but do you know what I'm saying? If he's getting sacked, realistically, it'll be Friday because it's an evening game on the Thursday.
On the Good Friday.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It would be a very good Friday. It'll be the greatest Good Friday of all time.
Was that ironic? Was that ironic? Sync chanting, but.
No,
I assume it's ironic.
No, we were 5-1 down to Liverpool at home, and our fans were singing about Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mind blown. Look, guys, have a look at this. Right,
we had that with Cooper. To be fair, didn't we?
Yeah,
we had that with Cooper.
There we go. This is Ange.
29 losses in the Prem.
Oh my god,
that is terrible.
His win percentage better than Amorim.
29.
He's been there less games though, but yeah.
29 losses. You think so? Since he's been at this football club, I've had to come on screen 34 times and go, lost again.
Right? Hey, come on, be fair. Yeah, come on, be fair. When you draw, even when you'd won, you'd come on here and moan about it most of the time. Quite likely because
genuinely making fans fall out of love with this football club. He is,
and there's no prospect of it getting better with him. From my point of view, I cannot imagine next season Tottenham becoming this fabulous team, secure at the back, piling forward, scoring. I can't see it with this man in charge.
No, there's no light at the end of the end of the tunnel whatsoever. But yeah, Savva, I've got to drop off now. But thanks for having me on as always, mate.
Yeah, I don't know.
Take care, guys.
I don't. See you later, Charlie. I don't want to lose him from the Premier League because I do actually enjoy his presses. Do you know what I mean? Like from
worried about
as a rival fan, you might
double thing, aren't you?
Yeah, I know we're not rivals, but because of my brother, I see us as rivals, right? Because I have a rivalry, should we say, with my brother on this. He's so gone on Ange. He's so gone on Spurs this season. It's hilarious. But I find him entertaining. Like, I couldn't watch Spurs under Conte. I found you just turgid to watch. It was turgid to watch.
Worse. This is worse.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking to you from a non-Spurs fan. Watching Ange is quite entertaining because I don't know what's going to happen on the pitch. It's just fun. It's fun to watch. Do you know what I mean?
We know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen.
It's a little crazy. But what I will say is you guys can be very harsh on your players. Now, again, I've told you on Brennan Johnson, I told you what you were getting with him. I think I kind of gave you his profile quite correctly. What I find hilarious is he's your top goal scorer by a mile.
Mate, I find it hilarious
And he's
as well.
getting absolute daggers, man.
Do you know what it is? Do you know why he's getting daggers? And it's probably not even his own fault. The problem with Brennan Johnson is if he was playing through the middle and getting goals, I think everyone would turn around and go, well, at least he's doing his job and scoring goals. And again, this is where I'm saying it's not all his own fault. He's being played out wide right when he's got no ability to beat a man at all. And guys, he is the weakest footballer I've ever seen in my life. It's like the wind blows, he falls over. So you've got him stuck out on that right-hand side, can't beat a man, doesn't offer anything as a wide man. So when he's scoring in a game, because he drifts in, it's okay. When he's not, guys, honestly, it is like playing with 10 men.
He's got his faults. And I think the faults I told you about, he doesn't track back. He can't get any air on a cross. He can't dribble with the ball. His biggest strengths for me were that he could run the space if there was space there, but you don't play a deep line, so the space isn't there for me. And he's got a good finish in that one where he goes across goal. Like his finishing's not bad in and around the box. It's not bad. But I just don't think his profile matches what Ange wants at all. And I actually found it quite interesting because he did the presser, didn't he, before your Europa game, where he basically thanked everyone and said he was happy with everyone bar the fans. I don't know if you guys picked up on it or not, but it was quite telling. It was quite telling where he's like, yeah, I'm happy for my teammates, management, spot the dog and all this stuff. But didn't say a word about the fans, which I thought was very interesting.
After that guy whipped out the phone, after that guy whipped out his phone, he's not thanking anyone, is he, in that fan base?
Mike's the relationships. I'll tell you what, if any of you get a chance, so you've probably seen there's a massive Spurs channel called Last Word on Spurs, right? And Ricky Sachs, who does that, he's actually doing a video of me tomorrow, but Ricky Sachs was on Sky Sports this morning. He had a 6.5 minute piece, and it was so refreshing to see because normally the people that go on Sky Sports representing us just go, oh, injuries. And Ricky just laid it out, and he said, look, there's, the relationship between Ange and the fans is gone. Like the relationship between Ange and the fans is non-existent. The relationship between the players and the fans is getting strenuous. You had Romero yesterday, just ran down the tunnel at full time, didn't even say anything to the away fans. And he turned around and he said, this guy's going to go down as possibly our worst ever manager. So it's a really good watch, but there's no relationships. And just quickly, I always get people like this guy does my nutting. There's this bloke called Search Surfer who constantly coming in my chat, and he's talking about injuries and Ange will go to City and win everything and all this nonsense, right? Let me show you this, right?
God blimey.
This is, if you look at the right-hand side, right, the 24-25, look at the points per game per player. I was told that when all these top players came back, Spurs were going to fly up the table. Problem is, we weren't flying up the table when they weren't injured. We weren't flying up the table when they were injured, and we're not flying up the table now they're back from injury. So look at like Christian Romero gets lauded. Look, when he's played this season, we've got a 1.18 points per game ratio. Like, it doesn't matter, guys, who plays. Don't let any Spurs fan tell you, oh, but we had injuries. It doesn't matter. Ange's system means we will lose games, and a lot of them. We just will. Yep. So we just will.
We're certainly hoping so next week.
Mate, I'm worried about you lot coming to you came to our ground.
If you'd have seen us play on Saturday, Savva, you'd have
nothing to worry about.
I hear you, but you got to remember, like the Spurs, the only Premier League game we've won in something like 8 or something is Southampton. It's like,
hang on a sec. I thought it was the YouTube thing to people come on and big themselves up, and the team saying we're better. I thought we're vying for who was the worst.
I'd love to, mate. Do you know what? In the Pochettino era, in the Harry Redknapp era, I look forward to games, and I'd fancy anybody playing at White Hart Lane under Harry Redknapp or Poch. I'm not saying we won every game, but Poch went unbeaten a season at White Hart Lane. Harry Redknapp had a year where we only lost one game at White Hart Lane, and we felt like, yeah, we're set up well. We're going to go at teams. We're going to be proud of the team. Now it's like we're going into games going, right, which left winger is going to destroy us today because we don't mark them? You know, it's hard. It's hard.
It would be quite fitting though, because I'm pretty sure, and I don't know if you remember, that Spurs defeat last season 2-0 at the City ground got Cooper sacked, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
So
really?
it would be full circle if we were to beat you. And I'm with Van. I'm not that confident after all the crap I saw on Saturday. If we were to beat you, it comes full circle. And it's weird how they're always on Sky games. I don't know if Sky get inside track on when managers are about to be sacked and what have you, but they always seem to have like the manager's first new game lined up or the game he's going to get sacked. So, you know, it's who knows? Who knows? It could come full circle.
Sorry, I have to bring that one back up. Johnson is the slowest player I've ever seen.
Oh, mate. He is the slowest.
Yeah, they all say that.
I've ever seen as well.
You know, last season, right until the end of the season, he was the fastest footballer in the Premier League last season.
I'll tell you what, when he's got a football,
one thing that Johnson always had was pace. That was it. He had pace, so he kicked the ball forward and run. That was his USP, pace, nothing else. So it just surprises me.
No, but they all say that. And the thing is, again, they don't get to see it because Spurs play too high up the pitch. Yeah.
Basically, when he gets the ball high and wide on the right, whenever the ball goes to his feet, I literally say in my watch-alongs, well, this move's going nowhere. Because he can't do anything with the ball. However, when the ball comes in from the left and Johnson's actually making that darting run into the box, he actually finishes. But as I said to you guys, the problem is when he's not scoring, it is like playing with 10 men. And by the way, Son this season, it's pretty much the same. So that's not just on Brennan Johnson.
So he had that phase, and do you remember when we first got promoted because of the World Cup? There was a lot of questions about he playing within himself and what have you. And then he did kick on after that World Cup bit. But he just never tracked back. Never tracked back.
If you remember.
He said sack a lot of people.
Last subject before we finish. Them lot down the road for me, not from my house, but from Spurs. Arsenal, whatever we think of them, did put in an absolutely magnificent performance against Real Madrid. I'm one of these people. I can't see this version of Real Madrid pulling this back. I can't see Real Madrid scoring 3 without reply against this Arsenal backline. I'm not saying I like that, but I don't think this Madrid team is good. What do you guys? Anyone giving Madrid any hope?
Yes.
No, not a chance. Like, I mean, for me, they didn't even look like scoring at the Emirates. Like, I know it's at the Emirates, but we see Real Madrid, like, their away, anyone's away ground is their home ground, sort of thing. Where it's like,
I fancy Arsenal to score a goal, and if they do, Madrid need 5, and it ain't happening.
Yeah,
not necessarily.
And if there's one thing this Arsenal team's good at, it's defending. Like, even when they don't,
they have got Gabriel out, which is a big.
They're very defensively organised, though. Like, just in general, their structure's really good.
But the other thing Arsenal
how
have
long since they've conceded more than 2 goals in a game? This stat came up the other day. Do you know how long since they've conceded 2 goals, more than 2 in a game?
No.
A while ago.
By the Otona, it's been a while.
Luton Town.
It was something like 18 or 19 months. Like they are organised. But Ant is right, isn't he, Wolfie? Like, if Arsenal grab a goal, they need 4 to get it to extra time.
But the flip reverse of it. I said this to Hooks earlier on. I said, if you're 0-0 20 minutes into the game, you're through. If you're 1-0 down, pucker up.
Oh, that makes a difference. If they score early on, mind you, I still don't. I just don't. They're just not a good side.
There is.
We're all brainwashed because it's Real Madrid. We're not looking at
this isn't the Real Madrid of the past. This is not the Real Madrid of the past.
I've seen worse Real Madrid teams scumbag their way through stuff.
I get that.
Look, Arsenal are like, I'm giving Arsenal 95 to 97% chance of through, but I won't not give Real Madrid a glimmer. However, what I will say, from what I saw of PSG, good luck Arsenal, and from Barca and Inter on the other side. I mean, this is my one thing with the Arsenal fan base. They all wanted validation because they're winning at halftime. They think if they're through, they're favourites. I think they need to just rein their mindset in a little bit, because we've seen them be top of the league 93% of the time and blow
A
it.
bit of a generalisation. I know
Wolfie.
loads of Arsenal fans who fear PSG.
The best two teams in the Champions League for me, hands down, are PSG and Barcelona.
Barca.
Right?
I think
And-
Inter up there for me.
Oh,
Most organised is Inter.
Brilliant.
Most
I
organised.
just think that the difference is PSG and Barcelona can blow you away like boom, 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 really quickly. Inter, more solid at the back, but look, I think for the world, what would be magnificent after this really boring season would be to have
season. What are you on about?
Yeah. As soon as I said that, I thought, these guys are third. But a Barcelona PSG final, though, I think for the neutral would be
I get that.
brilliant for
I get
football,
that.
right? Two teams that, you got Enrique against his old club. You've got two teams that both play attacking, attractive football, both control the ball in midfield. I think that will be a top final, and I really
The greatest
hope we get
thing for this season would be Arsenal to blow this 3-goal lead.
Yeah,
I tell you, it would be hilarious, and I don't expect.
Yeah,
them to.
am I the only one that wants Arsenal to go through? Yes.
yes.
I don't want them to. I just think they will.
They are through. Don't get me wrong. They are through. This is monumental if they don't go through. But God, it'll be funny.
Wolfie, if they don't go through, first of all, I'll be wrong in one of my groups where I said there is zero chance for Real Madrid, so I'll be in the mud. But the league gunner is going to have a field day.
I'm going to have a field day.
Praying for Madrid. Praying for Madrid.
I'm going to have a field day. Honestly,
can you imagine hooks? If they go out.
According to Wolves, they've already won it, haven't they?
That's well, no. This is the thing. They won't quite commit to saying they've won it. Right when they've asked for their flowers, I've just turned around and said, "Have you won the Champions League then?" And they won't commit to it. They'll say, "Well, we're taking it one game at a time." Stuff. All right, cool.
Is anyone
football, as we all know? Sorry, Savva, you got to do it, mate.
No. You're all right. I was just going to say, look. For all we know, Arsenal could get a man sent off in minute one, and actually that might not be the greatest thing because it would make them go into a ridiculous low block, and Madrid wouldn't have any space for them. But is anybody giving Villa any? I mean, they're 3-1 down at Villa Park.
That's killed it.
An early goal, maybe to
it was the goal at the end.
PSG are going to score, aren't they? They're going to score. PSG are. They're fantastic.
I look at PSG's mentality, what they did at Anfield, and that really impressed me. Yeah. Really impressed me. Villa Park's a good stadium, good atmosphere. It will be bouncing, but I think again, first goal. If Villa are to go through, they have to score the first goal. In my opinion,
definitely. I think and they didn't even defend that bad, in my opinion, apart from Cash and Disasi in that game. But the problem is that goal right at the end, killed it. If it was a one, I was saying, the best worst case scenario. Yeah, the best worst case scenario you can have when you're away first is being the goal down. That's the best worst case scenario.
Yeah, be in it.
And then taking it to your home ground. But that's
I think they're going to need. I think what will happen tomorrow, I might be wrong. I think Villa will come at them 100 miles per hour. I think Emery will tell them, right, let's go at them 100 miles per hour. But they've got to make that opening 10 minutes count. They've got to get, because I'll be honest, let's be fair. If Villa did somehow by hook or crook knock out PSG, that would be huge, wouldn't it, for them as a club?
That'd be magnificent.
Absolutely huge.
I'm not against seeing that. I think I don't necessarily agree that it has to be that early though, because if you want to win the tie in 90. They could get a goal just after halftime. Let's say they go 0-0 at halftime, get a goal early in the second half, and then go for it with 10, 15 minutes to go. That could happen. They've still got some scenarios they can play with. They don't have to win it in 90.
Main thing for them is not to let a goal in. So that's the main thing. Don't let a goal in. Because even if 70 minutes are gone, you get a goal on 70 minutes, you got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're going to, and maybe PSG will feel the pressure.
Yeah, I think they'll go 100 miles an hour, 7 and then PSG will score early on.
Yeah, look, PSG are ridiculous. Like that midfield three, I can only dream of watching midfield threes like that at Tottenham. Like I was it Vitinha, Neves, and Ruiz, just brilliant. And then you look at Ezra Doué, Barcola, Kvaratskhelia.
What a goal that was by Doué, man! What a goal!
That was ridiculous.
And I tell you what, how good how good is that left back, Nuno Mendes?
Oh, quality.
Man U had him in the bag, you know.
Yeah,
they had him in the bag. He'd agreed to sign everything, and then for some reason it went wrong. This was in the summer, I think, or
must have
January.
looked at the table.
Yeah, he must have. And all of a sudden, it just went off.
Guys, I will leave it there.
Go on.
Go on. No, go on. You want me?
I was just say, don't you think that in a way, what Villa have done this season has got a little bit under the radar? Because we're all talking about Forest and Arsenal and Liverpool and City. Now, Villa, they could potentially end up semi-finals. Potentially semi-finals of the European Cup. They're in the semi-final of the FA Cup, and they're in with a good chance of getting into the top 5. That's a pretty good season, I would say.
It's a very
talking about the excellent season.
Yeah, but nobody's really talking about Villa and bigging them up. I thought.
However,
you know what the problem is? Do you know when a non-Big Six team makes the Champions League in their first season? It was like when Newcastle. I know Newcastle.
They want to poo them,
but like they will give them no credit just because they've accelerated so far quick to the Champions League. So it's like that's the barrier now. You got to do this and all the time, but no, that's not how
there's a checklist
works.
You have to go through, and I've got it all season. People are like, you're just going to do a Villa, and I'm like, okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
However, the opposite of what Ange said is they could crash out the FA Cup, could crash out the Champions League, and could. Do you know what I mean? It's like whenever someone says the Forest had a good season this year, I say, ask me at the end.
We'll know where we are. I think the crazy thing is though as well, like loads of people have said, oh well, Villa, they're not where they were fourth last year. But last year, you got to remember Aston Villa were playing in the Conference League and were able to not put out their best 11 each week. Now, they've got some rotation options now, but earlier in the season, they were having to play, Wednesday, Saturday, the same players. But look, I think as a club, they're on a great trajectory. Their owners are backing them. They're attracting players to the level of Asensio to the football club. I think it's been whatever happens for them now, as long as they don't completely crash and burn. I think they're going to have it's been another good year and they'll go again. But if they get Champions League revenue for another year, then you start seeing things change. So, by the way, just did everyone see Mbappe's tackle yesterday for the red card?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was nasty tackle. Nasty tackle. Their heads are gone. They are not focused for that. That game
awful. So listen, guys and girls, I'm going to leave it there. I will quickly read out a couple of super chats. Big up to Anthony Clark, always with the super stickers. Thank you very much, my friend. You know I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And my man Gary, who goes under the guise of malt and barley, said, "Imagine the positive effect on the team for our European tie Thursday if he was sacked tonight. They would come out flying."
Save it till Tuesday.
I agree.
I said on my show last night. What Daniel Levy should have been doing today or last night was ringing up Harry Redknapp and saying, "Harry, I need you for 6 games and a European game, right? Yeah, I'm going to give you £1 million. I need you to come in, put some feel-good factor back into White Hart Lane, put your arm around these players and let them go and play." That's what I would have done.
That'd be great. That'd be
What
great.
do I know? Big up to you, Gary. Really appreciate that. Guys and girls, I'll be back tomorrow for the 10 a.m. show. I'm going to be joined tomorrow by this man, El Del Cocorel. He's going to be joining me. And the link I'm putting into the chat now, in 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to be live on Big Up watching Bournemouth versus Fulham. Is that way around, isn't it? Yeah, Bournemouth at home. Yeah. Bournemouth versus Fulham. If anyone would like to come, it's always a bit of fun. There's no pressure of Tottenham talk because Tottenham aren't playing. So if anyone wants to join, there's the link for that. Really appreciate you. Please subscribe to everybody on my channel. Their links are in the bio for this show. So please do. Much love. Take care. And as always, Ange out, Ange out, Ange out, and Forest to finish 7th. Take care, everyone.